Hey everyone, on today's episode of Huber Hype, we're going west. Talking about westerns today, the Old West, 1800s, early 1900s, before industry just destroyed America, before skyscrapers, before automobiles. Simpler times, you know, riding on horseback through a meadow, you got your gun on your hip, you're hunting for your bounty, taking them down to the sheriff. Talking about westerns. First up, a game that gets me emotional and just makes me weep at the thought of it and how they haven't had a sequel. Why is there not a sequel for Sunset Riders? A western-themed shoot-'em-up. Used to be an arcade game, later ported to Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo with minor differences across. You go through with a buddy, co-op. One player's got the shotgun, another player's got the 6 shooting pistols, and there's something about this game that just touches me on a personal level more than a Contra game ever did, and it's because of the Western theme and setting. It has this romantic fantasy quality to it. Going through the towns, going through the saloons, riding on horseback, chasing down a train. Women are throwing gold and goods off of their wagon coach. The boss I always remember, he's got like roses, and he throws roses at you, and when he dies, he like drops the rose. And the progression as well. You're Lee Van Cleef, fistful of dollars style, going through hunting down your bounties. You're not trying to save the world, you're trying to collect the cash. Next up, Call of Juarez, Bound in Blood, the only game where I choose not to use a shotgun because the old 6 shooting revolvers are some of my favorite weapons in a video game. These things are out of control. They're each attached to a shoulder button, and they just have a destructive force to them like Clint Eastwood's Magnum in Dirty Harry. Now you play as 2 brothers, the McCall brothers. One of them, Ray McCall, he's just a nut job. The guy is a psychopath. Then he turns into a priest. He's trying to find God, but he's trying to quell his rage. Then his brother is kind of sketch, and he meets this woman. It's just this epic spaghetti western tale full of prison breaks, bank heists, and chases through the mountains. You got Native American Indians hunting you down because you're on their land, and then after the end of each level, there's a classic High Noon style quick draw duel to finish it off. Next up, you knew it was coming, the definitive Western game ever created. Last week, we talked about how Rockstar made one of the greatest beat-em-ups. Here they are again to make one of the greatest Western games, Red Dead Redemption. Now, I really get emotional when I think about this game. This game just makes me weep like a little schoolboy. The most important part of Red Dead Redemption is the year that it takes place, 1911. It is at the very end of the gunslinger era. Gunslingers have become almost extinct. Technology is rolling in, automobiles, they're a relic of the past, and John Marston is one of those relics and one of those legends, and he is on a mission of redemption, retribution, and revenge. This game spans multiple themes and locations. It is vast, it is huge. There's something just so intimate about riding on a horseback through the forest, through the land and the mountains that just you don't get in other Rockstar games like Grand Theft Auto, you know? Like, I can go down right now, get in my car, and drive through downtown Los Angeles, but I cannot get on a horse and ride across the plains, lasso a bandit, set him on the train tracks, and have a train run him over. And John Marston is just a legend, one of the greatest characters ever crafted in any medium. He's like the man with no name when he needs to get something done and murder people. He's like Jimmy Stewart in Winchester 73, man determined to finish the mission and protect those around him. And he's like Gary Cooper in High Noon, does what needs to be done even if nobody else has his back. Now, we covered Sunset Riders, Call of Juarez, and obviously Red Dead Redemption. Now, what else could there possibly be? What other Western game is legendary? The Oregon Trail! This has got to be the first video game I ever played before Super Mario. Sitting in my first grade class, Miss Breen, we had one little Apple computer off into the corner, and we would have Oregon Trail Hour once a week, where as a class, we would huddle around this computer and try to make it out west alive. Now, all the boys in the class, all we want to do is hunt. We want to hunt some buffalo. We want to skin the animals. And all the girls were like, no, we have too much meat. We need to go. And it would just we'd have these wars in class. Teachers trying to say, you know, we need a bit of both. We need supplies, but we also need to hunt a little bit. This game made me want to learn about the Old West as a kid, and I think really got me into history as a whole, because I just wanted to learn about this gold rush. People leaving their lives, heading west to dig holes in the ground to strike it rich. Years later, I picked up the Oregon Trail 2 on that Aptiva computer you're all familiar with, and you could choose a profession. It was a little more advanced. You could choose a profession, a starting city, and a destination. And I made this little chart of all the possible combinations of location, destination, and job, and I was trying to beat the game 100%. They don't even, like, this doesn't exist, 100% completion in the game. This was just me being obsessed with the Oregon Trail, about making it out west and striking it rich. I always thought it was really depressing too, when you would just, you know, you'd have your wagon, get to that river, try to cross, flood. Your supplies are gone. Also, who does slow speed? You always gotta do fastest possible speed. If little Sally breaks her ankle, so be it. You're only as fast as your slowest person, Sally. Hurry it up! So the Oregon Trail, beautiful Western, no fate but what we make, just packing up, leaving your life, going through uncharted territory all the way across the country, lawlessness, just trying to go out there, strike it rich, and battle the elements, cholera. So the Old West, despite not being science fiction, it is a land where anything seems possible. It's romantic, it's intimate, they've got gunslingers, they've got dry goods stores. I love a good dry goods store, you know, just selling bags of flour, selling little knickknacks and bread and dried beef. Instead of cars, you got your horse. Can you imagine taking care of your horse? Like, that is an animal, that is a being, that is your mode of transportation. It has a soul. Your mode of transportation has a soul and a life. You know, you can't take care of your car, you gotta take care of your horse. So I'd love to see more Westerns, you know. I think developers might be scared because on surface level they look at it and you think, oh, you can only do so much. We're limited to, you know, isolated towns, stagecoaches, a limited arsenal as well. What is 6-shooters, shotguns, dynamite, and a repeating rifle. But I think there are endless possibilities despite being grounded in reality. Last week we talked about beat 'em ups and we had a ton of great comments. Let's get to some. Cross Sabers, Alien vs. Predator, and Dungeons & Dragons by Capcom, those were the day. Alien vs. Predator, there was a nickel down in El Toro by my house. They had this game. I pumped 1,000 nickels into the machine on a weekly basis, just running through this game. It is phenomenal. I love it, even though you have to be a predator beating up aliens. Still the best, but we all know aliens will win. Next up, Tiger Luck. Always loved beat 'em up genre with co-op since the first X-Men, Avengers, and Simpsons arcade game. Yo, Huber, why didn't those get a mention? Can't mention everything, I'm sorry. Trying to fit as much as we can in, but we're gonna mention it now. X-Men is phenomenal. We just did a full playthrough on GameTrailers Twitch channel. I'm sure it's archived. You can watch that entire playthrough there. Captain America and the Avengers on Sega Genesis. Underrated gem. Loved that game. That is the only time, other than the Avengers movies, where I knew who Hawkeye was. Polo 1920, Urban Reign, the best beat 'em up game ever for me, especially the combat. I'm still waiting for the continuation of this title. Nick Plessis, one of his favorite games of all time is Urban Reign. That game got swept under the radar, I think by the cover. It's a really stupid cover. This big guy in like a crocodile shirt. What are you doing? Panthom, not a pure beat 'em up, but Dragon Crown is a local co-op, side-scrolling and graphics look modern but have a retro style of them, plus the RPG elements keep you playing for a very long time. Me, Brad Ellis, and our good friend Nick Bellinger, we did 3-player co-op over the course of a couple weeks getting through this game, but when the game launched, only progress for player 1 would carry over. We were gonna do New Game Plus, but only my character's progress saved, so we would have had to go back and beat the entire game on normal with each player. They later patched it, but it was too little too late. But other than that, phenomenal game. Rolento, Kung Fu for the NES, FTW. Absolutely, Kung Fu. Why do you even need to punch? You just kick anyone that comes in your path. Andrew Dunno, favorite comment, Jackie Chan's stunt master, Jackie's real moves, real voice, and corny lines, Kung Fu Polygon beat 'em up. Goodness, I love this game. My friend TN Fan had it when we were in middle school. I would go over every day and play this game. You get broomsticks, you can run on the walls. I'm obsessed with this game. Let's get another Jackie Chan out here. Coming up this week on GT, we have the long-anticipated continuation of tabletop adventures. The heroes are in a new land, new situation. Only the Dungeon Master Ben Moore knows what's gonna happen. Also, Daniel Bloodworth is gonna be reviewing Assassin's Creed Chronicles. And this Friday, 6 p.m. on GameTrailers Twitch channel, I will be full playthroughing part 2 of the Evil Within DLC, The Consequence. Everything's gonna fall into place. We're gonna get, hopefully, some more answers, and the package will be complete. That is the Evil Within. Cannot wait. That's it for the show. I'm at Michael P. Huber. Let me know your favorite Westerns, favorite Western films too. There's too many to name. Unforgiven, Magnificent Seven, Winchester 73, A Fistful of Dollars, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Silverado, Tombstone, the list goes on and on. Let me know some of your favorite Western movies, favorite Western video games, and any memories of the genre that you have. I'll see you next week. It's time for Huber's Scoop! There's no better time than now with the recent announcement of Mankind Divided to go back to where it all began, the original Deus Ex, set 25 years after Human Revolution. You play as J.C. Denton, nano-augmented super soldier for UNATCO. Multiple ways to accomplish missions, a city that feels lived in, a balanced economy, and outcomes that change depending on who you talk to and who you kill.